I'm Mark Hatton from Farming Forum and Direct Driller magazine. Just out with Phil Rowbottom, one of our farmer focus writers. Just looking at some winter wheat that he's now drilling into a failed crop of oilseed rape. What happened?
We planted the rape as normally back in August. All three fields came up about 100 acres. Then flea beetle took over. We're now down to 40% of the oilseed rape crop that we planted we're going to take through to harvest.
And will this be one of your lowest oilseed rape acreages this year?
This is probably our poorest ever oilseed rape crop in 50 years.
Really? And that's just down to flea beetle then?
Just down the flea beetle. I know, there are virtually no plants growing.
And what's your other fields of oilseed rape, are they sketchy or reasonable, or?
The good field is sketchy.
Right.
It will go through to harvest. There is a crop there. The other field, I have already changed it back to wheat a month ago.
Right, okay. Not great then?
No, not looking good for oilseed rape on this farm. Talking with the agronomist 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about SFI and what we could do going forward, and oilseed rape acreage is on the cards. We will grow a legume cover crop, a birdseed mix, something that the government will pay us for, and we'll take the risk out of it.
Yep. And it's become too big a risk, hasn't it? You're not alone in your thoughts around growing oilseed rape, because it's become too big a risk to grow.
We can't afford to try to grow crops. We need some safeguards. We've got to earn a living.
Yeah.
We can't just carry on planting crops in the ground on the off chance that they come up.
So you're an advocate of direct drilling, and you've been growing cover crops for the last 3 or 4 years now?
Yeah, I'm now going into 4th season with the drill. I like the system for all sorts of reasons. We're keeping organic matter in the land. The organic matter content of the land is rising all the time. We're doing annual monitoring. I do field soil sampling all the time, every year. We're increasing organic matter. We're increasing ground nesting birds, wildlife on the farm, because the land is never bare. There's stubble on the floor, even as we see now.
And that can only be a benefit for everything.
Absolutely. The worm count, if you just stick a spade in the ground, the worms are there. The land is far healthier now than I dare believe. But I believe that the land was healthy. I just think it's improving all the time.
And I'm fortunate, because I've been lucky to come and see this over the last couple of years and see what you're doing and understand a bit more about what you do. And it never ceases to amaze me, having driven down here this morning, seeing how much wet's lying about elsewhere. And I know what you'll say, this is some quite forgiving ground, it's very light.
Yep.
However, it's barely picking up on the tyres.
No. And that's partly because we're running on the straw and on the stubble on the surface. And we're able to do more work either longer or earlier in the winter and whatever, because we just travel so well now.
And that as a benefit outweighs so many other systems.
Yeah. And we leave the tram lines where they are. We don't move the tram lines about. We have a now specific roadway. Everything stops on those roadways. I'm not quite controlled traffic, but that would be the ultimate aim. But instructions for anyone, you must travel on tram lines and keep machinery and vehicles off the land.
Yeah.
Keep compaction to a minimum.
So when was the last time any of this ground would have been subsoil?
5 years since I ran a subsoiler leg.
And do you foresee you'll have to do some?
Not at the moment.
No.
I'm not seeing the land structure improving. You take the spade and stick it in the ground. It's not difficult. It's not compacted,
Yeah.
which is interesting. All these things, and I was brought up traditional farmer with a plough. My plough's in the nettles up the top of the farm. But this is just a different way of looking at things, and I think a lot of the issues we've got is it doesn't look clean and tidy straight away. We've got this appearance of a mucky, untidy field. But if you look further afield, the fields are green, roundabout, all the wheat is growing. I grew some wheat through a 5-foot tall buckwheat crop, and it's all up in rows. It's not a problem.
But that's just the age-old perception of wanting everything clean, tidy, browned over in the autumn.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way we've got to do it. And we've been fastidious for clean crops, and everything's got to be perfect.
Yes, and I was brought up that way. I was brought up definitely to keep it clean, nice brown fields to drill into, clean soil. This is just an alternative way of doing it. And for me, one of the, other than wildlife living on the farm and being able to keep hold of grey partridges, if you like, I mean, they're the biggest benefits. We've got loads of skylarks about. My fuel consumption's gone down at least 50%.
Wow. Another massive benefit.
Which is a benefit. I haven't done a carbon footprint yet, I haven't done the carbon count yet, but if my carbon fuel footprint has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah. And that's not just good for your business, that's good for the environment as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's benefiting everything that we do.
Yeah. Phil's been running this Fendt 724 for the last 12 months?
Yeah, just over a year now.
Just over a year?
Yeah.
So this is the Gen 6?
Yeah, Gen 6 model. I was looking for a tractor a year ago, and one of my local contracting teams, they run Fendts everywhere, and they love them. They love them. And I approached a couple of tractor dealers about changing my New Holland, probably for another New Holland, if I'm honest. There was nothing available. When I spoke to Wilfred Scruton, and they said that they got some of these, a 724 available, which was a start. I mean, that was a fantastic thing to hear on the phone. We had a look and we had a chat, and basically within 10 days it was on site and at work. And it's a fantastic place to sit and have as your office.
And you've got all the, I know you've had some upgrades done with the software and things, so this now will do the complete headland management system. So you press of a button, implement out of the ground, it'll self-steer round.
Excuse me, no, I don't have self-steer.
Oh, you don't?
Round.
All right, okay.
I do for actual work, but it's not on auto headland turn,
right,
which
okay.
I think is where you're going with that. That was another step that I haven't done.
Right.
But using the direct drill, using the tractor, we're on section control. Doing contracting, it looks more professional.
And you do think from that you've saved seeds as well?
We must save a few kilos of seed here and there, yeah. But to be able to operate with this equipment, training and backup from Scruton's has been great, because I'm not the sharpest with a computer. but no, it works really well. We're using the full RTK, the real-time kinematic, isn't it? Set up, and it's great. Yeah.
So Scruton's don't have a dealer very close to you, do they?
No, the dealership that I use is 70 miles from here.
But your relationship with Scruton's comes from the Skydrill, doesn't it?
Bought the Skydrill 4 years ago from Scruton's Selby depot, which is only half an hour away, and that was how the relationship began. Yeah.
So 4 years in with the Skydrill.
Still towing it about. It's great. I get to like it more and more. It does everything it says on the tin. I can put 3 different commodities in the ground at 2 different depths. I've drilled everything from clover to beans, which is 0 depth to 3 inches depth, and it does what it says.
It's as far as direct drills go, it's relatively straightforward, isn't it? It's a pretty simple.
I think, yeah, it's pretty straightforward machine to operate.
Yeah.
If you want it to go a bit deeper or a bit shallower, you have to jump off and twiddle a few big turnbuckles, but it's not an onerous task. It's straightforward to operate.
And this as you've got this set up now, this drill, would that be this is 4 metre, isn't it?
This is a 4, yeah.
So if you wanted a 6 metre version, is it pretty much the same drill, hopper wise and everything, but barring?
I believe so. I think a 6 metre is literally 2 metres wider. I believe it has a slightly bigger hopper, but yeah, the quartz box that controls it all, linked to the tractor, GPS, fine, no problem. Yeah. Everything's there.
No, and as you say, it's an incredibly versatile drill. I've seen it working into ploughed ground, and
yeah, I've used it on everything from stubble to ploughed ground. I have a customer who ploughs his oilseed rape ground, power harrows it, and then he asks me to go and drill it which is he says he likes the way the drill operates and plants the seed. It seems a lot of waste personally, but that's the way he likes it. And then I've drilled beans into a grass sward. I've reseeded grass with clover, and that's scary because you can't find it. So trying to put a few kilos of clover into a grass sward is not a comfortable operation.
But it was a success, though, wasn't it?
But it was a success. The customer, I rang the customer a few times over the following months, and he said all the clover was there and growing and fun and great. So yeah.
Thanks, Phil. It was interesting to hear your thoughts. I hope the wheat's a bit more successful than the oilseed rape was.
I hope so too. Yeah, this is what's this, second time across the field with the drill, and hopefully this wheat will grow. It is sky fall, so it should grow.
It could be worse. You could be having to plough it again.
I could have to plough it, but I'm not ploughing.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Cheers.